it is me, Joshua Joseph, the voice, and I'm here to talk to you about what I just got done doing. It was an amazing time. I got to speak to Buff Bagwell. I just got done speaking to him. Buff the Stuff Bagwell was amazing. We talked him, we talked his career, we talked future things coming up. We talked a lot. We had a couple laughs. We had a great time. It was truly an honor to speak to you, Buff. Welcome everybody to another moment with Joshua Joseph, the voice. That's me. And well, as you can see, I have a special guest, somebody that I grew up paying attention to, somebody I mimicked in class. I used to walk into my sixth grade class to make my friend Clay laugh, and I would do the strut. I'd walk in there and he would laugh every morning. We have the man, Buff Bagwell himself. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, but how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I just want to say thank you for giving me your time. I know it's a very valuable thing that we have, and for you to give it to me it means the world right now.
Absolutely, I love it, man. It means the world to me, bro.
Oh, dude, I've been a fan of yours since I seen you first step on WCW, and my stepdad, he was blown away. I get to talk to you.
I'm telling you, man. I look back on stuff we did, and you know, I mean, when you look back as your own self and look back at it, and it blows you away, and it just shows you really how powerful it must have been to like somebody at your age in middle school or high school. I mean, we knew what we were doing was off the chain,
Yeah.
it just was. I mean, nothing, it's not about being cocky or being, ugly. It was literally it's just the facts. I mean, we were putting out that was off the chain, man. It was great. And it was so much fun for us to do. I'm grateful just to be able to be in the seat that I was in, to be able to go out and do that every week. It was just so much fun to us.
Yeah. When were you a big pusher for the NWO when it came about, or was it more of okay, they want me in the group, I'm kind of just going to go with the storyline and take it from there?
It was, I do remember, when I get asked this question a lot of times, I don't remember like wanting to be in the NWO a lot. Like when I look back on it, I think, why didn't I? But I think because it all happened pretty fast.
Yeah,
I don't know the exact timelines of it, but from them coming in to it even being a possibility, I was already in.
Yeah.
So I never really had to think like, man, I'd like to do that. I do know when they ask, it was an automatic, like, yes, are you kidding? Absolutely. But I mean, you got to realize I was in a World Tag Team Championship team with Scotty Riggs. So, we were the American males, dude. It was a really cool gimmick and the closest gimmick I had to myself yet.
Really?
Because I was able to do the goatee and be a baby face. And then, and back then, facial hair was an automatic heel. Facial hair was a bad guy. So I had to convince WCW that I could wear a goatee as Marcus Alexander Bagwell and be a baby face. And they didn't agree with me. They said, no, we're not going to do it. So I shaved my goatee, and then we had Disney tapings, and they called me back and said, have you already, all right, we're going to go with it. And I go, I just shaved my goatee. And they were like, we need you to grow it back. So Scotty Riggs had the 5 o'clock shadow. I had the goatee. I grew it back. And we didn't even have time to make outfits up because they wasn't going to go with the idea. And then I had Scotty. I go, look, you bring a pair of jeans. I'll bring a pair of jeans. I said, I need you to go to Pie. He had to buy one thing for the American male outfit. He had to buy a pair of white cowboy boots, because that's where my brain went to make it logical. I had a pair of black pair. I had a black and white workout outfit that matched shirts, the sleeveless shirts we wore. And he had to bring a pair of his own jeans and buy a pair of white boots. And then the rest, I said, the rest I can figure out. We got there and they put American Males on our back at Disney. MGM did it for us. They put the sequins down the jeans, and those just our tights were made overnight, and that was one of our favorite outfits. But the favorite of all was the suspender, zoot suit pants we had, and that came from a brand of pants that I wore during the '90s that was called
Zumbas.
Cavarici.
Oh,
There were, if you look, anybody listening or look it up, these pants I wore all through the '90s. That was the #1 club pants. It was called Z. It was called Z Cavarici.
really?
And man, I had every Z Cavarici there was. It was overall. It was those baggy pant legs down to the peg leg boot, and it had the like a real high waistband, zoot suit looking outfit. But I threw the suspenders in there for some reason. I threw that idea in, and it was just a great outfit. But that gimmick was more what I was trying to do with my character anyway, which was edgy. The choker, the tat, the armbands, the earrings, the facial hair, all that little bit of edgy stuff.
Yeah.
And so from that was right into NWO. So it really worked really well.
Yeah. Now, where did your love for this entertainment, this sport, come from?
I don't know. I mean, I can break it down and we can talk about it out loud, which would be, I didn't watch wrestling as a kid. I wasn't a wrestling fan. I mean, I knew who Dusty Rhodes was because of my family. We watched pro wrestling. I knew who the Road Warriors were. I knew when they came out, they were going to beat somebody up. And so we always watched that. Of course, we knew who Ric Flair was. We knew who the Four Horsemen were. But I wouldn't say I was I didn't dress up like my favorite wrestler ever.
Yeah.
My brothers never did. I remember seeing my brother Steve dress up like Dusty Rhodes one time. I do remember that, but not for Halloween. So it wasn't a big deal in our house. We did watch it and we loved it, but nobody was going to be a wrestler and nobody wanted to be a wrestler. When I grew up out of sports, I love sports, but wrestling hadn't crossed my brain because I just didn't know nothing about that. And so I'm at the pool one day, trying to figure life out. I was a massage therapist. I went to the Atlanta School of Massage out of high school. My parents went broke, and I went to the Atlanta School of Massage, and I was going to try to do some kind of sports medicine or something like that. And the quickest way was at least getting something done with massage therapy to get that first check in the box towards sports medicine. And so I did that, and it wasn't working out because a lot of women get massages, and women were very self-conscious about me being a pretty boy. It was uncomfortable for them. And you think, women talk a big game like, oh, I'd love for you to massage me. But when it gets down to it, it's very insecure and a little weird for them. So it was a lot of women walked off from my massages. I mean, at the meeting, it's really strange. So I had $10,000 invested in a massage therapy, career. And now it's not panning out. And I'm at the pool one day depressed. And in comes Missy Hyatt, sees me at the pool. And she's like, do you know this story?
No, I don't, but I know that name.
So I'm at the pool one day. I'm 19 years old at my pool at an apartment complex called Poplar Place Apartments in Kennesaw, Georgia. And I'm laying there and I'm real depressed about what I'm doing with my career because it's not doing well for me. And I see this hot blonde across the pool and have no idea who she is. And so I go back to my apartment that night, and my soon-to-be wife, my fiance, was there. And I tell her, I say, hey, man, I saw this really hot-looking blonde today at the pool. I always told on myself. That way I wouldn't get in trouble.
Exactly.
So that night, knock at the door, I look at the eye hole, and I go, it's that hot blonde, you know, and she's opened the door. Hey, how you doing? I'm Missy Hyatt. We're like, okay, who's that? Well, I work for WCW, World Championship Wrestling, and you know, and your boyfriend should be a wrestler. And we're like, I said, those guys don't make no money. And she goes, the lowest paid guy in our company makes about $100,000 a year. And I said, wait a minute, tell me more. You know, so we sat down for a minute and got really excited about it. And I was an athlete, and I had a certain talent for everything. You know, I was a cool kid, man. I was the youngest of three boys. My father was super cool, charismatic guy, a drag racer. He's in the NHRA Hall of Fame. Wow. He's a character. He's a cool guy. And my brothers were super cool, athletes, good looking, all that. And so we just had a certain swag, a certain way we carried ourselves. And with that, it just happened to be something that we felt like I could do the pro wrestling thing as well. So I go to school the first night and I come home and I say, I'm not going back. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. I said, it was brutal. So my girlfriend's like, what? You're kidding? I go, no, it's horrible. It's really hard. Oh my God, I can't believe it. And I had something at the time that really was probably a disadvantage, but I thought it was an advantage at the time, which was I was seeing Missy's schedule on how the wrestlers how many days they had to work. And by seeing that and not knowing really what it took, but seeing those amount of days and going through one workout and being beat up, I said, how do these guys do this?
Yeah.
So I went back the second night, and for some reason I kept going back, and I don't know why. And, you know, it took me about a year and a half to make it. It was hard, man. But a year and a half from start to WCW is pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of luck involved too, but also a lot of ability and a lot of the right place, right time. But I made it, and love this business so much. It's not even funny, but just you know, I mail stripped for a lot, you know, for just a couple, 2 or 3 years there in the middle, and I guess a lot of that also got me prepared for entertainment. You know, in front of a crowd, and you know, being able to perform in front of a crowd, and you know, to be creative and to be exciting in front of, you know, the cameras. And so I was used to that on a pretty big stage, and I've done a lot of, you know, shows like that. So I just felt like it was a good mix to make a good pro wrestler, and it did. Buff Bagwell made a damn good wrestler.
That he did. That he did. I thoroughly love it, and I love the part of the story where you were like, you weren't a big fan of wrestling when you were a kid, and you didn't dress up like wrestlers and stuff, but people dressed up like you, like
Right.
we did in the locker room. I mean, there'd be times where guys would just be in their, you know, their pads, just doing the strut coming through.
Sure.
And you know, it would get us hype, and just I it's so awesome to talk to somebody that was around that world. Like NWO created a entire world. Buff Bagwell created an entire world, because even in that big pond you were in with NWO, people still tuned in to see Buff.
That's right.
You were a segment. So with you being the youngest, is that where that the ability to poke the bear comes from? The way your character would just go at guys, it was so funny, just verbally.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Being the youngest of three, I didn't mind the outcome. So, but the guys had to know by poking the bear that they were going to be able to pay it back. And a lot of guys didn't. Like, I remember being in a match with Goldberg, first match with Goldberg, and I was out there, and he was in his corner, and I went, Goldberg, Goldberg, you know, and he swatted at me. And it was in North Carolina. It was my first match back from breaking my neck. He swatted at me, and he missed me with a hand, like that. And if he would have hit me with it, it would have knocked me out.
Really?
But I had no idea he was mad at me. He was trying to really hit me, but he didn't realize in 1 minute when he beats me up, the Goldberg thing is what makes the pop. That's what makes the crowd, that people want to see him kill me. And I gave it to him.
Yeah.
So he comes in and the press slam and then the jackhammer and then the crowd goes crazy, you know. So you got to be able to, you got to make that bad guy first before the good guy can get over on it. And I just knew how to do that so well, and it just worked out really good.
Yeah, you were a master of that, my friend. I mean, it was so we would legit talk about when Monday night was coming up who you were gonna piss off.
Yes,
We waited for it too. Like I
right.
legit waited for Buff Bagwell moments, and
We would think about what can we do tonight to piss off the biggest person. And that's what we did. I mean, even in St. Louis one time, we're in St. Louis, and what can we do? What can we do? And just by pure Monday night nitro luck is what I call it. Um, um, Mark McGuire just had broken the home run record,
okay,
and he had um, all the steroid things was all over him. So I put a Mark McGuire shirt on, a Mark McGuire wig, the ball cap, and we go out and imitate Mark McGuire. I mean, in St. Louis, man. And I mean, they wanted to kill us. They wanted to
oh
kill
yeah,
me.
yeah,
And it was great though, because I mean, in the middle of the interview, I'm taking steroids, and he goes, "What are you doing, man?" I go, "I'm taking steroids." I go, "How the hell you think I hit all those home runs?"
that's
I mean,
fantastic.
everything you could do, we did, you know,
Yeah,
and there's nothing, nobody could stop us. It was just great.
no, you guys, it was fantastic to see you guys push the envelope week
Yeah.
after week, and not to because okay, this would be my Monday nights. I would watch you guys for the first hour. I loved the cruiserweights, and then I would switch over and see WWF. I would usually watch maybe the 5 minutes of it, and then I was always back to WCW. Didn't
Right.
matter. Would always go back because, like, like I think AEW does on a Saturday night with that new Collision show. You guys brought storylines, entertainment, and actual like emotion out of us. In
Yeah.
WWF there was only like 4 guys that did that. With
Right.
you guys it was from top to bottom,
Yes.
and I loved it. With speaking of the WWF, was the Monday Night Wars that intense backstage at that
Oh,
time?
brother, it was so heavy in the beginning. In the beginning, you got to realize that we were 8 to 10,
Mm-hmm.
and they were 9 to 11. So at 8:59, I mean, it was New Year's Eve at 8:59. I mean, it was getting ready to be a New Year, but it was every week like that. And there, every monitor in every locker room was their show. And at their city, every locker room had our show on theirs. So it's like a football game in different cities. I
Yeah.
mean, we had to know what they were doing, and we had to switch gears and make it, adjust things. But at 8:59, it was crucial. So if you wasn't where you're supposed to be at 8:59, you were fired, because I mean, you got the NWO coming out and Sting's coming down from the rafters, and you got over there, you got The Rock doing his interview, and Stone Cold's doing the beers, and it was happening at 8:59, and you had to make sure we kept those channels changed to us.
Yeah. I mean, well, in my household it was. I mean,
Right,
my little brother would go off and watch WWF, and we'd make fun of him, but
right.
we would stay and
I mean,
watch WCW.
the deal is, I got no problem admitting the WWF was better than us, but they wasn't eventually. I mean, we
No,
had a better program.
you did. And honestly, at some points there was better product. And I mean, they got the McMahon money. I mean, come on.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
and can I just need to ask this because I told you I interviewed Raven. I didn't want to ask him because I wasn't sure if he would know. But did Vince have a stake in WCW? Did he own some?
There, there was always that big stink and that rumor, especially when, Vince Russo came in.
Yeah.
When Russo came in, and I don't even know the facts behind all of this, but, Russo supposedly used to work for the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came in, everybody was like pretty blatant about, look, guys, don't be stupid. They used to work for Vince. This is, Vince has sent them in to mess with us, but as talent, what do you do? I mean, we're talent. We do what we're told, and as long as we're getting paid, I don't really care as long as we're getting
Yeah.
paid, right? So we're getting paid, and when Russo came in, he sat down with all the top guys, which is I guess would be, probably 25 or 30 top guys. Me being at the tail end of those top guys, but one of the top guys,
Mm-hmm.
and but I was one of them. And so Russo sat down with all of us and said, "Look, here's the problem. The problem is WCW always has somebody working in that's booking. The head booker he always becomes camera happy, and then pushes his friends, pushes himself, and forgets about all the other talent." And it's true. It is what happens. Flair was always one of the boys that ran the company. Kevin Sullivan was one of the boys and he ran the company. Bill Watts was one of the boys and he ran the company. Eric Bischoff wasn't one of the boys. He ran the company and he did it great. But then even he got a little camera happy, but no big deal. The camera ratings were high, so who cares? But it does happen with us. So Russo's his thing was he was not ever, that's the key, he wasn't ever going to go on camera. So when he first came out, he had the Harris brothers doing
Mm-hmm.
all of his stuff, and you heard Russo's voice, but you never saw Russo's face. Well, I don't know how long it was, but it wasn't very long before he was all over the camera then, coming out
Oh
with
yeah.
NWO shirt and beating everybody up with bats. And he was part of the show. So exactly what he said he was never going to do, he did,
Yeah.
so it's just hard not to do. It's just hard not to get that, that excitement to be a star.
Yeah. Um, what was your favorite pay-per-view with WCW that you were in throughout the years?
Um, I think overall, I didn't really have one particular one, good one, like one I can remember. I just remember the one I always looked forward to having was Halloween Havoc.
Yeah. Yeah.
I seem to
That,
always have a good Halloween Havoc. We went out, me and Scorpio went out as world tag team champions. I think the only time I came out as champions on a pay-per-view was with Scorpio. And we came out as world tag team champions against the Nasty Boys. We lost the belts at that event, but we came out as champions. And coming out in those orange and black tights, the way those Scorpio tights we came up with, it was just a real fun memory. And I love the colors orange and black.
yeah.
And I just love Halloween. So I don't know. The Halloween Havoc shows just seem to be always a good pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's one I rewatch. I one of my guys that helped me run the productions and things like that, and I mean, that's his channel. In Your House is his channel. He was just talking about Father's Day. He was watching, I believe it was '97 Halloween Havoc, and they were talking about Chris Jericho, and his son goes, "Holy cow, Dad! How long has Jericho been in wrestling?" It's like
Right.
forever.
Yes, he
um,
has.
do do you see any of the promotions out there nowadays, and kind of does it get a little itchy for you to want to get involved in them and kind of be a part of
Um,
them?
yeah, I mean, like, I'll come across one every once in a while that I get really excited about, and but like, even right now, I when I watch AEW, well, even 20 years ago when I first got out of, the WCW and WWF bought everybody and WWE took over and all that.
Hmm.
Even then, I always said, I'd watch the show and I'd go, I just don't understand why I'm not there. And I always said, one day I'm going to watch this show. And when I watch that show, that I go, okay, I get it. I see what's going on. I see what happens now. And I see the stars. I don't fit anymore. And now I get it. The problem with that is I've never seen that. I
Yeah.
haven't seen the show that I've gone, wow, I don't fit anymore. I could fit on there tomorrow again. So it just goes to show you, it's just a real tough business to stay in. It's very hard to stay popular in it, but I love this business so much, man. It's just such a great business. And I still make my living at this. I do Comic Cons and wrestle Comic Cons and wrestle cons, and just have a lot of fun doing what I do. The promotions I see, I get very excited about. And now I'm training my niece as well.
Oh,
And so I got a chance of having her come in and maybe going into like an AEW or something like that, or even the WWE, who knows, and going in as Buff Bagwell with his niece. And she's a rock star looking chick. She's an Atlanta Falcons cheerleader. And so if she's got the ability, and I think she does, it could be definitely a way in for me back in the business again. And I'm not done with this business by no means. I've got a knee replacement. I got a knee replacement coming up, and I'm 100% going to get back into it. If that means, the Royal Rumble, that's what it means. If it means independence at a high level, then that's what it means. But I'm going to be back in the ring again as Buff Bagwell for sure.
I can't wait for that day, man. I really can't. Post it because I will try to be there front row and center.
Absolutely.
I just have a few more questions for you and then we'll get you on your way. I know you got some things going on. What was your favorite sport growing up that you played?
I played I was, first of all, in the beginning I loved baseball. So I didn't like football at first. I did the baseball thing and I boxed. I was a real tough kid. I don't know whose idea it was to get me into boxing. I really don't, but I was really fantastic at it. 1982 would have been the year. And the reason why I know that year so good is because I won the Golden Gloves, the Georgia Golden Glove state champion. I was a Golden Gloves 12-year-old state champion in boxing in Georgia that year. The reason why I know that year so well is because I was 61-1.
Wow.
61-1. And I mean, this is all paper documented. This is proven. This is facts. And if you look back at I don't know where you could find it, but I guarantee you could. If you look back in the rules or the regulations of Georgia boxing in 1983, boxing went from weight to age. And I was very small for my age. And I went 61-1 when it was a weight division.
Okay.
And then when it went to age, I was small for my age. So in 83, I was getting my brains beat out. I had two, 3 matches and boxing matches, and it was just like, pow, pow, pow. I mean, I was getting beat up. And so I was going to take a year off and then come back. I took a year off and started football, and it was football, baseball, the whole rest of the way. Okay. So I was all county, all state in football and baseball, and just really loved both of them. But my favorite of all was baseball.
Baseball? Mine too. I love it. I have daughters in softball. I got one that's already being looked at by Alabama.
That's great.
Yeah, she's only 12. She'll be 13 next month.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, she's a talent. And the one coming up right under her, she's getting a couple people looking at her. So she's excited about that. I had one fan question. And it's from my buddy Clay that I spoke of earlier.
Okay.
He just wanted to know, how could you have done the Steiners like that with the broken neck and making fun of them and doing all that? I personally loved it. But at that moment, my buddy Clay, he did go, I don't know if I can cheer for Buff anymore. So
well, do you remember like which part of it are you talking about?
He was talking about the whole thing of like when you would come back and then all of a sudden your neck was hurting again, they would take you out, and then all of a sudden, boom, you were back and you were just taken out.
Well, during that time, it wasn't me. It was me doing it against Rick. Yeah. So what happened with that was, you got to realize, man, I was going to be I could have been the biggest baby face in the world. I mean, everything pointed at making me a baby face, because I mean, I had fan mail, bro, that my parents would cry reading. I mean, it was fan mail from Desert Storm fighter pilots that would touch my picture for going out to battle, man. And I mean, this was intense. intense fan mail that people loved and worshiped Buff Bagwell, man, and was rooting for my energy to be healthy and be saved. And Eric hits me with he was going to bring me back as a bad guy, and my parents were distraught. I mean, they were physically upset. I mean, they were crying. My family was crying about that I was going to be a bad guy for all this fan mails and stuff that nobody really knew about. And I explained to them, I go, look, guys, I can't tell them what to do, but always remember, no matter which way you go, bad guy or good guy, you got to be really good at that to be a really good other one. So no matter what, you got to really pour it on to be a bad guy to be eventually a good guy, and vice versa. So you go out, I says, look, it'll always switch. Just let me go out and do this. And it really upset the world when I did that. I remember the night we did it, and I was hugging Rick, and Scotty came out and hit Rick with a chair, and I said, "No, Scotty, no, don't." And then I got the chair, and I hit Rick too, and I just knew I was going to hear this big reaction. It was quiet. It was like, I mean, people were really like, no, you didn't, man. But yes, I did. And I'm not going to halfway do it. If I'm going to do it, I'm going all the way in. So I did. And it did. It really got I feel like it got the wrong kind of heat. Because people were I really had a neck injury,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Eric Bischoff was not going to put a camera up there and show the fans. I mean, Eric Bischoff could have made me a god out of that. I was back from a broken neck, paralyzed in the ring for 8 minutes. I was back in the ring wrestling Goldberg and Rick Steiner, who broke my neck, in 10 months, brother. That's that's unheard of.
It is.
I could have been the biggest baby face on the planet. And Eric chose what he always liked to do, which I agreed with as well. He always chose go against the grain. Mm-hmm. Don't give the people what they want. Let's give them what they don't think, what they think is not coming. And so I agreed with it. And, at the time, being a heel I was really entertaining as a bad guy. So, I just really enjoyed it, and it worked. But we really had to go there for Rick. It was pretty rough, but yeah.
No, I enjoyed it. I knew, though, because I was one of those guys who would search out information. I knew that you really did injure your neck, and like the comeback you did have was amazing. I mean, to be able to do it that quickly, and it was just incredible. I mean, the only other one I can think of that even came close, and he was out for over a year, I think he was 14 months, was Sabu, when Benoit and him had their moment.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it was incredible. Sure. But all right, Buff, they got me on a hard time for 5 minutes left on this.
That's great.
I just want to personally thank you. You have made a 12-year-old me complete.
I love it,
dude. It was an honor to just text you and to have you respond to me so quickly. I was blown away. You should see my friends' messages. They got tons of them from me.
Love it.
But the fact that we could do this and have this moment and talk, it's an honor. It really
is. It's a privilege to me, brother. I mean, just for you to be able to say what you said, I want you to know, man, that I did what I was doing for this right here. And I knew at the time what I was doing was powerful, man. And I wanted it to count. It ain't like we were just throwing it out, throwing some TV out there. I mean, we were throwing out life-changing stuff. I mean, there's people that dedicated their bodies to mine and dove into pro bodybuilding because of me and got their lives changed around because of the way I looked and the way I acted. And that means a lot to me. So it means a lot for you to say what you said, and I really appreciate it so much. I'm just glad I was part of it, brother.
Well, thank you so much. And like you said, that belt right there behind me, that was a cousin of mine who passed away a few years ago from cancer. He went and collected all those signatures, and yours is actually right the third all the way to Ruby Soho.
I love it. I love it. That's great.
Dude, yeah, he went and he collected everyone that we loved as kids and got all you guys to sign it, man.
That's fantastic.
That's that's $1 million piece in my studio, my friend.
Absolutely, bro. It should be. It actually is. I mean, this what we did during that time, man. It really was. It was very magical, and it still is. It's just a magical time that they could never take away. It's something that was really meant a lot for us to even do. So I thank you so much.
Man, thank you. And fans, thank you for tuning in. This was the man himself, Buff Bagwell, Buff the Stuff, everything about him, fantastic stories, and just to have the insight. Thank you so much, sir. It was
My
a
pleasure.
true honor to speak to you.
Thank you so much, brother.
All right, fans. That was it. That was Buff himself. So I will catch you on the next one. But I couldn't do that without the help of a few people and the fans and the people who just want to listen and hear who I talk to and what we talk about. So I would like to start off with saying Explore Boards. Thank you so much. Christy and Josh, you have a great company, and anybody out there, just go look them up. Explore Boards. You can also have a lot of family fun. Let the kids tear up a lake on a little paddleboard. That's a good time if you ask the voice. Also, we have to say thank you to HCW. A place I call home, a place that gave me my start in this business, a place that I look forward to announcing and commentary any day of the week. Dale, thank you. We also had Jonathan Sandoval, a great friend, personal friend of mine, I must say. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jonathan. It was a blast talking to him, and I hope you enjoy it. I also have a team that I'm with. In Your House. You ever heard of them? You usually catch me hanging out with them, you know, on Friday Night Hype with the man himself, Hypocrisy Joe. Don't forget the name because he's always bringing the hype. We also have the man himself, Hollywood House. Thank you, sir. Thank you for everything. What you've created gives me a playground to play in, my friend, and I appreciate all the insight you gave me and just the help you gave me to get this done. Sam Knight, the Conqueror. Thank you. Thank you for your words of wisdom, your kindness. Just you, man. Thank you for being you. Juice Incredible. The Keyboard Genie. Love everything you do, man. You make me laugh. You keep me wanting to do more and more of this and creating. Thank you, Jushin. So everybody, the last person I have to thank is you. All of you that tune in, all of you that share, all of you that like it, and all of you that want me talking to more, thank you. Thank you so much. I honestly wanted to be in this business so bad. And, you know, the world gives you different roads to take, and I took some that didn't align with this. But now I get to do what I really enjoy in this and hyping up those who've been in that ring. It's an honor to work in your world. I don't know if all of you ever get to hear that from people like me, but it's truly an honor to speak to you guys and what you do and to share these moments with you, because that's what we are on, a moment with Joshua Joseph. And that's all this is, a collection of moments that have built into this. And I'm just so appreciative of everybody who sees something in me in this business. Again, to my team out there in your house. Thank you guys. And I know we've just started, and there's so much more to come. It's incredible. Everybody, Explore Boards, HCW, Chrissy, Josh, Jonathan, Dale, thank you all. Thank you all, everyone. I'll catch you on the next one. Enjoy.